There's only 5 game weeks remaining, so this could be the biggest opportunity remaining to make up ground. Kicking things off with the shortlist, if I was going ultra differential this game week I'd go for Eze. He's not got the easiest of fixtures against Bournemouth at home and Arsenal away, which is why he's ultra differential, but he might even be on penalty duties right now, and we will take a look at the probability of that later on in the video. If De Bruyne had higher expected minutes, he'd be my ultra differential, but he's not, he's too much of a risk. If I was going for a City player, I'd actually go for Marmoush. He's not got the easiest fixtures against Everton away and Villa at home. They're practically just as difficult as Eze's, and you will see that later on in the video. But Saka's got easy fixtures against Ipswich away, and Palace at home who have been shipping goals for fun recently, but he is a minutes risk, so it's really tight this game week. Taking a look at the non-penalty stats per 90 minutes, it is the Gunners' talisman who takes the lead on the output and the expected numbers, but this is based on the assumption that each player plays 90 minutes and each player could play up to 180 minutes. Marmoush is not that far behind Saka on the stats, and he's more likely to play 180 minutes, albeit he did get subbed off on the 80th minute in his last match. Eze has got a history of being nailed, but he's not been in the last match. He got dragged off before the 60th minute, and I'm not too sure about him being nailed in that second match of this game week, because Palace have got a very important fixture coming up in the FA Cup. But the main thing is that his stats are quite far behind the other 2 players, especially in the output department. The other 2 players are overperforming their underlying stats, and he's just about level. But in terms of return points, he's miles behind. In terms of expected points, he's actually not that far behind, but he's still far behind enough. I was fuming with Eze last game week. He was given a penalty, even though I thought Mateta was going to be on penalty duties, and he absolutely fluffed it, which cost me a few points. In fact, it was quite a big swing between him scoring and missing the penalty. He also gives some points to poor owners who I don't own, and with it being such a poor penalty and it being so tight with Mateta in the first place, that's why Eze's probability of taking a next penalty is so low. He is more likely to take one with Mateta not being on the pitch. But at least he's still the main man on direct free kicks, indirect free kicks and corners. With Marmoush, it does depend on De Bruyne being on the pitch. If De Bruyne is on the pitch, he's not going to get a look in, but he might take a direct free kick if he's not on the pitch. And Saka is the same for Arsenal as Eze is for Palace. He is the set-piece specialist, but he's the only player on the shortlist that's practically nailed on pens. He has been known to give them away in the past, especially to Odegaard, but right now, if he does get awarded one, he will probably take it. Marmoush isn't nailed on pens for City. In fact, he's more likely to not take one than take one. He's got a similar chance as Eze, but it does depend on De Bruyne being on the pitch, a bit like Mateta, and De Bruyne's not exactly nailed right now. So if De Bruyne's not on the pitch, he's probably likely to take one. If De Bruyne is on the pitch, I don't really think he'll be taking it. The probability this game week is based on the assumption that each player plays 180 minutes, and we will take a look at the expected minutes later on in the video, but if that's the case, Marmoush has got the highest anytime goal scorer odds, but to be fair, he is a forward, and the other 2 players get an additional point for every goal scored, whilst the midfielders, and Saka's only 2% behind in that department, but he's 12% ahead on the anytime assist odds, and 4% ahead on the anytime return odds. So not only has he got the best chance of returning, an 18% chance of blanking, he has got the best weighted odds by far, but this is based on the assumption that each player plays 180 minutes, and we all know that's not going to happen with Saka, so let's keep digging. The highest points projection this game week is 10.7 on FPL Review, which is Saka, but Saka's also got the lowest on Fantasy Football Fix with 4.5, which goes to show he's got the highest ceiling because of his potential output and his fixtures, but also the lowest floor because of his expected minutes, which are quite risky. The highest figure on Fantasy Football Fix this game week goes to Marmoush with 7.4, and if we averaged out the points projections, he'd be quite far ahead of Eze and Saka. I can understand why a lot of people are saying Marmoush is the safest captain pick this game week, but his fixtures from an attacking perspective aren't too easy. Everton's got a solid defence, and Villa's not got a bad defence. Eze has actually got slightly more difficult fixtures. That's because Arsenal's defence is solid, even with Gabriel injured. Bournemouth's defence isn't bad either, but Saka's got by far the easiest fixture on the shortlist this game week against Ipswich, and Palace isn't a bad fixture either, but Ipswich are skewing the numbers quite a lot. There is also only a 22% chance that either Ipswich or Palace will keep a clean sheet this game week. As for Eze's opponents, they're more likely to keep at least one clean sheet than not. Something that adds to Marmoush's case of being the safest captain pick this game week is that he's got a week's worth of recovery. Saka only gets 4 days, but it's not too bad, and Eze only gets 3. To be fair, I'm not that bothered about Eze. He's not performed well on the shortlist up until this point. I know he's got the highest expected minutes, but I'm going to rule him out from here. It's between Marmoush and Saka. There's not much between them. I have mentioned the expected minutes quite a lot, and Marmoush has got safer expected minutes than Saka, but it's only 20 minutes more. I did think it'd be more than that. And in the last fixture, Marmoush only played 4 minutes more than Saka in his last fixture, but we can't forget that Saka's not got as many rest days, and he's not long returned from injury. I do think there's a chance that Saka might get benched in one of his fixtures, or dragged off early, and I don't think that's a risk for Marmoush, and for that reason, I'm torn. But Saka playing 77 minutes in his last match does fill me with a bit of hope. I do think he's building up his fitness, and I do think people worry a bit too much on previous data when it comes to minutes. We can't see into the future, we don't know what his minutes are going to be like, but one thing I can tell you is the next Champions League fixture is nearly a full week after the second fixture in this game week, so Saka won't be rested in that one. My prediction is that he starts both fixtures this game week and builds up his minutes, builds up his fitness, gets a bit of a rhythm for that big Champions League match. So I think with those 2 easy fixtures and the highest potential output, I think the best captain this game week is Saka. I might actually sell Salah for Saka and bench boost this game week. Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss my team selection video, or if you found this video informative.